I feel like with a show like Hamilton, especially with the importance of like representation, is important to bringing it into these like smaller towns or just like cities who have never had Hamilton come into town. So for people to come and see that on stage is really important.
It's very important. I think we're probably all in theater because we saw a tour come through our state growing up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like otherwise, not everyone can always get to New York. It's not always accessible for a myriad of reasons. And so being able to inspire the next generation of theater goers or performers, or people who just want to be a part of theater, like we bring Broadway to you, and I think that's a really, really special thing.
When I first saw Hamilton, because especially with Lin-Manuel Miranda being Latin, it was really amazing to see not only the representation but also created by that was really important for me to see growing up, and especially because it came out when I was in high school, and also covered the contemporary track, is the contemporary music, which is what I love to listen to. So combining all those aspects, I was like, oh my gosh, I could see myself doing that one day.
Yeah, I think I echo everything Lily said. I think I was obsessed with this show like most everybody when it came out, but to have, the representation of people that looked like me in such complex, complicated roles in genres of music culturally that I know am very well and am familiar with and love, on a grand of stage as Broadway was everything.
I echo everything. I grew up in Southern Indiana. I'm older than these two, so I grew up like in the 90s, and television, movies, everything looked a lot different than it looked now. I never saw myself represented. I didn't even think musical theater was a place for me because I didn't even see myself represented there either. And then I moved to New York after graduating from school and also felt that in casting. I felt like there were only certain things I was allowed to be a part of, and I wasn't going in for the same things as my white counterparts were, even though I had interest and I had the same characteristics. And it was really emotionally tough. And when I saw Hamilton, I felt like that was the first time I actually saw myself on stage. And it blew open casting, and we started having those conversations. And so my world, night and day, like between the opportunities that I had to go, like the things I had to go in for before Hamilton and after Hamilton, and then getting a chance to step into the footsteps of the role that I actually saw myself in, has been, I'm trying to express it, but it's been like so transformative. And now when we see young little girls come to this show and they're black and brown and they're in the Schuyler sister dresses, I think, wow, their life growing up, they're gonna think they can do anything.
Yeah.
And that is incredible. One of the themes that resonates throughout Hamilton is legacy. And I think Hamilton has, like for musical theater and globally, is leaving an incredible legacy. With everything it's touching, not only from an entertainment standpoint, but also just from representation, casting, outreach, like changing like cultural and political climates. Like I don't think there's ever been a show that has impacted the world as much as this one, to a point that it's like in everyone's vernacular, or like even in like every show that I love and watch like on TV, like they reference Hamilton at some point. Or like a lyric from Hamilton, or like, well, I got tickets to Hamilton. Like it's always, it's just like it's ensconced in our world now, and I think that's really cool.
I agree. I think, even it's humbling to even be reminded of like, we were talking earlier about like the shows that inspired us, but then to think that it's really crazy to think of like there are people in the audience that are just like, yo, I saw that person play that role in that production of Hamilton, and now I do this. They're gonna be like people who sit on interview couches, be like, yo, I saw a production of Hamilton and that inspired me. And I think sometimes I forget that, that like we don't know the kind of impact that the show has on the people in real time, but we certainly were those audience members and still are, and when we see other things, but to think that we are that experience for someone else sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, it's an honor.
Yeah, same. I think being a part of the show, especially since it's like one of my dream shows, has just been amazing in every way, but then also to back of what Tyler said is then to like actually go meet people outside and have conversations with them about how much the show has impacted them is given that new perspective of like I would never thought I'd get to like share that experience with someone who was impacted by the show. Yeah.
A lot of people in the Hamilton world that describe the show as like America then told by America Now, you know, so I think, you know, realizing that Hamilton is a musical about Alexander Hamilton, Treasury Secretary, told through the vehicles of hip hop and R&B, I hope that people, you know, are inspired by the representation, but also, you know, have an ear to maybe genres of music that they might not have before. Or if you do, that it deepens your appreciation of those things. But yeah.